Making women feel an intense sexual attraction to you only through communication is what's known as sexual connection. Women are attracted to men not because they're handsome or well-built, it's because of the way that they behave, and men react differently to women that they like. Some men get very arrogant and cocky and pretend not to notice the woman or tease her if they do notice her. This is the kind of behavior that is a major turnoff to women, for the majority. A man who belittles a woman in order to tell her that he likes her is a man who cannot communicate with that woman. So even though you may have good intentions, if that is your best method of communication, it doesn't appeal to a woman. However, a man who is friendly and charming and relaxed from the moment a woman meets him is a much better candidate because he obviously communicates well and is enjoying himself in her presence, and she doesn't have to try to read between the lines to figure out if he likes her. It's obvious. I used to know this guy Alex, and he was one of my closest male friends. And Alex had this thing that whenever he would take a woman out, he was basically controlling her. And he was the kind of guy who wouldn't ask a woman if she wanted to dance or if she wanted a drink. He would decide that that's what they were going to do, and he would do it. And so while that may work for some women, for me, I personally find that to be a little abusive. But I know that there are some women who do like it. And I won't lie, even I sometimes like a very dominating man. It just depends on the way that you go about it. And some guys can be really weird when they get around attractive women. Like, some guys will not touch them or kiss them or talk to them in some cases. They really have no physical contact typically when it comes to a really attractive woman, and that makes the woman have to adjust their opinion and position to the man, and that's not exactly where as a woman you want to be. You want the man to be taking some kind of initiative. So while you may not want to go to Alex's extreme of this is what we're doing, you also don't want to make a woman have to make a move. Most men do not like a woman who is shy or uncomfortable when having a sexually suggestive conversation with a man. However, that's just how most women react to that kind of conversation. She may look at a man and say, "Did you really just say that?" And that's a totally normal reaction for her, even though it may seem like a turn-off to you. When this happens, don't look at her funny and walk away or make her feel bad for that reaction. Remember, it's normal. So when this happens to you, and it probably will at some point, try to make a joke out of it or make it into a positive situation in whatever way comes most naturally to you. Any way that you make a woman feel bad is going to hurt you in the long run, so make sure that you're as positive and optimistic about the situation as you can be. Guys, remember that it's not what you say that creates a sexual connection. It's how you say it. That is the most essential aspect, no matter what it is that you're looking for in a woman. Some guys have it really, really easy, and they can just walk into a club, start talking to different women, and the women are instantly attracted to them. And, you're sitting there in the background like, how is this even possible? But that's just how it is for some people. They go up and they say, "Hi, my name's Andy, how are you?" And that's all they have to do to get women drooling over them. For some guys, the important thing is a woman's sexual orientation. Some guys actually just want women who are bisexual or homosexual because it's got that whole forbidden fruit mysticism going on. So for some guys, that's all they care about. A straight woman is not enough. Some guys also have a preference on attire. Whereas a lot of guys like a sexy dress on a woman, some guys hate it. They want something elegant or formal because it's classy and it doesn't have to be revealing. I had a friend who would once tell all of his girlfriends to change clothes whenever they were dressed a little too slutty, as he would say, because it was too revealing for his personality taste. Whatever the case may be, make sure that you know what attracts you and what you're looking for, and then figure out how you can obtain it. We women meet these men frequently. They're usually poor rather than rich, and they tend to speak to us in a different language than English, for example. These men speak to us through their attitude, and there's something so attractive about it that is so different from everyone else. Everyone else in that club will come up to us and say, "Oh, you look so beautiful," try some cheesy pickup line. They'll do whatever they can with words. But something about a man coming up and flirting with attitude brings a whole new dimension to this relationship. If you can get a woman to like you just from your sexual connection, it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. Because it's all about your delivery, and your sexual connection will be bringing the perfect delivery. If you want to create the sexual connection between you and a woman, you cannot wait longer than a few minutes. This is something that you absolutely cannot delay, because women like men who are daring and brave and will take a risk and introduce themselves. If you don't do that, you will completely miss the opportunity. The real trick to getting a woman to like you and really enhancing your sexual connection is confidence. Consider this for a moment. Pretend that you didn't learn in school that there are languages besides English in the world, like French, Spanish, whatever. If I came up to you and I told you that these languages existed, and at whatever age you are now, you had never heard of them, would you believe me? If I could make you believe me, what would I have to do? I would have to believe it myself and sell you on it. I would have to be completely confident in everything that I was saying. You may be introducing a woman to a whole new type of man she may have never met, and she may not believe that that exists. So your job is to portray as much confidence and sexual connection with her as you possibly can. Developing your sexual connection really isn't that difficult, and it doesn't require a whole lot of effort on your part. What you need to do in order to really create a good sexual connection is be able to observe a woman and figure out what it is that she's looking for in a man. Once you've determined this, all you have to do is work on your Freudian superego and make it fit to what she wants. Freud had a concept. If you're not familiar with him, he's a psychologist, and he believed that many people had this outer shell that he called a superego. This outer shell wasn't a person's true self, but it was a mask that they wore to protect themselves, so that they wouldn't get made fun of by society or feel out of place. This superego can be anything that you want it to be, and you can make it anything that the woman you're looking at wants to see. So if you learn to manipulate your superego properly, you'll be able to get any woman. According to Freud's psychoanalytic theory of personality, the opposite of the superego is simply the ego. The ego is your inner self, the portion that you may not want everyone to see. Its primal needs are sex, acceptance, food, and shelter. These are considered primal because even animals need them. You may not think so, but if you really take some time to introspect on it, animals require all four of those things, just like humans do. Those are the four needs of the ego. The ego is how you can get a really strong sexual connection with a woman. It takes a lot of work to be able to break down your superego, which tends to come out automatically because it's a protection for us. But your ego is where your charms really lie. So if you can show a woman that you have a great ego and not just a great superego, you'll be able to maintain a great sexual connection. Having a good understanding of yourself and knowing what creates the best sexual connection with you and a woman is going to be a great asset to you. It will stop a woman from not being attracted to you because she simply won't be able to help it. However, it is important to know that there is a difference between attraction and affection. Many men try to use affection to win over women, and that does not work. Men will send them flowers or cards or chocolates or buy them any random gift or do whatever they can to send a nice gesture. However, this does not work. You can't buy a woman's affection for you. What you need to do is create that sexual attraction by lowering your superego and letting her see the real you. There's actually a big difference between attracting a woman and convincing a woman to be attracted to you. It's very important that you understand these differences. For attraction, it's not something a woman can help, or in some cases even want. She just is attracted to you despite her own will and desires. Affection comes with a little more of a sense of responsibility, usually because a man will be buying her gifts or doing nice things for her. She feels obligated to feel some affection towards him. You don't want to utilize affection. Attraction is so much more exciting. Not only is it uncontrollable, but it comes with a passion and a fervor that affection can't even touch. Affection comes with something much softer, love and a relationship certainly, but it's not the same kind of excitement. It is a loyalty, but it's not the passion that comes with attraction. In order to get a woman to be attracted to you, you really have to know your inner ego and know how you can break past your superego in order to share that with a woman. As a woman, I believe that all men know the basics of sexual connection. Sometimes they just don't know that they do, or they've been conditioned to only believe certain parts of it because of their religion or education. And men's and women's bodies are totally different, which makes a huge difference in how sexual connection works. For women, did you know that only 1% of their eggs actually fertilize for giving birth? The other 99% are meant to fight off men's sperm. It's hard to believe, but it's the actual truth and serves to emphasize how little men tend to know about women's bodies and how different they really are. Men usually consider women very loyal and trustworthy as partners. However, women do have a tendency to cheat, just like men do. Particularly during periods of ovulation, women have a ravenous sexual appetite, and it's then more likely than any other time that they will give in to their impulses and sleep with someone who they're not with. That is what can cause tons of different accidents to happen. And you probably didn't know, but 10% of the world has no idea who their parents are. This is often because women have accidents when they cheat on their significant others and try to hide it by giving it up for adoption. Sexual attraction is instinctive. Like members of the animal kingdom, humans have 4 basic needs: food, shelter, sex, and acceptance. If we can get those 4 things, we can survive. Animals, however, do not have a step that humans have added into their courtship: vocalization with words. Animals make noises to indicate their interest or lack thereof. Humans, however, with the invention of speech, have made the courting process much more complicated. But what you really need to understand is that you can court someone simply with your physicality. You don't actually need words in order to understand whether or not they're interested in you. And that is a lesson that you can take straight from the animal kingdom. Every animal species knows how to create a sexual connection. Cats will be fighting in the heat in order to mate. Elephants will use their trunks to locate their significant others. And they do all of this without ever being taught how to do it. It's instinctive and natural. Most men have a very natural gift for their sexual ornamentation, but many of them just don't realize what it is. One of the primary differences between humans and animals is their capacity for thought. While animals can be very intelligent, they come nowhere near the human brain. We have a capacity for speech that they completely lack, and our brains are much more enhanced. While women can be very superficial in a way and really enjoy men for their physicality, women are much more likely to fall long-term for men who have good minds. In that case, what you really need to be focusing on is enhancing your already existing mental sexual connection abilities. This is something that's already inside you. You don't need to create something new in order to correctly use sexual connection. All you have to do is identify your current strengths and enhance them to the best of your abilities. The first time you try to utilize sexual connection with a woman, don't expect amazing results. This is not an overnight process. It takes time to develop. However, the results are incredibly rewarding. Sexual connection is a tool that you can utilize, but it does require you to change various things about yourself. You have to open yourself up to new perceptions and ideas and topics of conversation even. You also have to adjust the way that you dress in many cases. Now, you may look at me and say, oh, well, you're a woman, so you don't really understand what it's like to be a man. Well, while I've never been a man, I do understand how challenging this is and what a leap it is taking for you to even consider making this step. However, the results are incontestable and are definitely worthwhile if you're really trying to create a good sexual connection. The stages of the sexual connection process, even at its most effective, may seem a little weird and bizarre to you. If that's the case, I encourage you to open up your mind and really relax and give this a try. Let me talk you through the 4 basic steps of sexual connection. Second, create some sexual tension in your conversation. This may make you uncomfortable because it's going to require you to be a little bit daring and sexually aggressive, but it's definitely something that you want to start incorporating into your conversations. Third, strengthen the sexual connection between you. Whether you do that by flirting and just increasing your sexual aggression, or by playing some kind of game, maybe getting a little physical, all of these are viable options for increasing your sexual connection. Fourth, become physically closer. This doesn't have to be as part of a game anymore. You can brush the back of her arm, breathe on her neck, kiss her ear, do whatever it takes to increase that physical connection that you're both hopefully expecting and desiring at this point. Be confident in your beliefs. If you go into sexual connection thinking that you have to change who you are in order to make it work, chances are it's not going to work. So instead of recreating yourself to make sexual connection work, try incorporating sexual connection into your life already. There are many languages in this world that you don't speak, and sexual connection may be one of them. It's its own language that you have to learn and practice in order to be good at. Women can be very demanding of their partners. Let's take a look at 2 different examples. Say the first, you are dating an attractive woman. You really like her and you want to show her this. She knows that you really like her, and she asks you to do something that will please her. You don't do it, however, because you're not really sure how to do it correctly, so you don't want to screw up and show what an idiot you are, so you try to do something else that will please her. You try to buy her a gift or write her a love note. These are things that you know how to do and you know will make her happy. But instead of actually making her happy, she tends to drift away from you because you didn't do the thing that she asked. Or say you're not dating an attractive woman, because she always seems to go for the same kind of douchebag guys who take advantage of her and don't really appreciate her. In both of these instances, the same problem could be simply that you're too shy to do what she wants, and women have a very nasty tendency of testing men's shyness to see how far they're willing to go. Women have the tendency to test their partners constantly, and if a man doesn't step up and meet that test to pass it, then the outcome is not going to be favorable for them in the end. We'll eventually choose to leave them rather than waste our time with them. As women become less attracted to a man, they will make creative tests that show whether or not a man is willing to go to a certain length to show this woman that he appreciates her. Sometimes the result will be a woman leaving you for another man, and that's just how a woman tests a man sometimes. It really is all about the sexual connection. If the other man knows how to create a better sexual connection and attract a woman better, she'll go to him. So it's very important to understand the stages of sexual connection thoroughly. Let's go over them one more time. Something many men don't realize is that women don't actually often make the decision of whether or not a man is attractive to them. Men make that decision for women before they even open their mouths. The way that men present themselves is a great indicator of how a man feels about himself, and that in turn influences a woman's opinion of the man. What a woman really wants in a man is someone who is sexually aware of himself and confident in who he is. Think of your traditional masculine man's man. That is what you should be portraying to any woman that you go up to talk to. While it's true that most women don't agree on one perfect type of man, there are various qualities that are inherent in all men that women like. Some of these include self-confidence and being sexually aware. Women love men who know who they are and what they have to offer. They like men who are leaders and have leadership qualities. Men who portray themselves as the ability to have a family and to make good decisions on the spot. Men who are creative and fun and comfortable with who they are. These are the types of qualities that women really enjoy in the men that they talk to. Men who are experienced in relationships with women know that women constantly test their men. In some cases, it's not even something that they do consciously. It's just so ingrained in them that they're always doing it. Now, it may seem like a really tragic thing, but women mostly do it as a method of communication and to figure out if the man that they're dating is the right man for them. For example, they may do it in canceling plans without a clear explanation or directly challenging you in front of your friends. These are all methods that women use to test the men that they're dating. Women test men because they need to know your individual strengths and weaknesses as quickly as possible. Let's face it, all people are different and we are rarely straightforward with one another, so it's essential to know exactly the type of person that you're dealing with as soon as you can. A lot of you men like to talk about how good you are at the game. Well, let's be honest, most of you can't back up your boastings. I know men can be very proud, particularly when it comes to their sex life. But if you took a more realistic point of view and realized that there's actually room for improvement in your game, then the sooner you'll be able to not just talk about your game, but be able to back it up with real experiences. It's also important to remember that the most attractive and beautiful women have the luxury of choice. They will test you to make sure that you're the ideal choice that they can be making. So how do you become the ideal choice? Well, the first thing you need to do is realize that there is always room for improvement. No one is perfect at the game, and as soon as you realize that, you can start making adjustments to improve your game, like changing some of your characteristics to be more attractive to women. As a woman, I am absolutely sure that strong men are what attract women. Now, I'm not talking about bulging biceps and six-packs, although those definitely help, don't get me wrong. They're not the kind of strength that I'm referring to. I'm talking about a strong personality, a strength of character. Those are the kind of men who attract women, and they're the kind that women really want to end up with. So, if you're a woman and you're beautiful and attractive and you're being chased by countless men, how do you know which men are actually strong in character or which of them are faking their character strength? The way you figure it out is to test them. Women don't actually tell men when they're being tested. Knowing that you're being tested kind of affects how you react within the test parameters, so women don't tell men that they're being tested when they are. Some women don't even realize that they're testing men because it's so ingrained in them to test all of the men that they meet. Usually these tests will determine if a man is confident or not. This is something that all attractive women utilize, and if a man is not confident, it tells them and allows them to easily slip away. So if you are being tested, you're probably not going to know it. Attractive women have a way about them to make it very discreet and subtle. Until the test is over, you probably won't realize what's been going on. It's important to be aware of the tests that women make. If you fail just one test, that could be enough to make a woman become uninterested in you. And obviously that's not what you want, and it may seem unfair even, but that's simply how the world works today. Most women don't have days, weeks, months to devote to finding out if a man is actually strong or not, if he's actually confident, if he actually is who he says he is. That's why women have created these tests. Women need to figure out as quickly as possible if a man is what she's looking for, and if he's not, she doesn't want to waste her time on him. If you don't understand how women think and how these tests work, you're not going to stand a chance at passing them. In order to pass a woman's tests, it is essential that you don't let her tests affect your emotions. Women's tests can be frustrating and irritating beyond belief, but the best way to show her that you are a confident and wonderful individual is to stay relaxed and playful and fun throughout the entire thing. Don't let it get to you, as difficult as it may be. Doing this will show her that you are exactly the kind of person that she wants to be around, someone who doesn't let things get them down. If you do show her how irritated it's making you or how upset, it may make her dislike you after that. It may not happen immediately, but women do eventually drift more to confident men. So if you do not show her that you are exactly what she's looking for, eventually she'll move on to someone else, someone who is better at the qualities that you're lacking. So whenever you're dealing with a test from a woman, make sure that you take everything in stride and remain as relaxed as possible throughout the entire test. This is the best way to show her that you're what she's looking for and to keep her around. There are several rules of sexual connection that every man should learn and remember. These rules can help you to deal with women's tests, to prevent them, and even to come up with your own tests so that you can judge other women instead of women always testing the men. These rules will help your personality to appear more dynamic to women, making you seem more unpredictable and stronger. These are all traits that you will want and will help you when you're trying to attract different women. These are all techniques that you should use together to help create sexual tension with the woman that you're talking to. So, without further ado, here are some techniques for sexual connection. just being yourself is not exactly ideal, because for most guys, just being yourself means being unconfident and insecure. This is not what a woman is looking for. The key is to believe that you can be something more than just yourself. If you believe that you can be strong and confident, you will become these things. It's really a mental aspect, and you have to take advantage of all of your resources, which includes your own mindset. Most women are sick of the traditional guys who are nice to everyone and are too afraid to offend anyone, to do anything out of the ordinary. These guys are rampant in society, and a woman is not looking for one of them. She wants you to stand up and to be strong and independent. This is the kind of man that attracts a woman. It's important to remember that women will try to interpret everything that you do. Women see a deeper meaning in everything, whereas men tend to take everything at face value. So when you're talking to a woman, try to have a subtlety to what you're saying. Maybe say something that could have an ulterior meaning. This will keep it really, really interesting for the woman. Remember, these are not just techniques that you can use every now and again. You want to make yourself comfortable with them so that they actually become part of your personality. Then you'll be able to use them without even thinking about it. When you use these methods, you show a woman that you are 1, a good catch, 2, indifferent to the outcome, and 3, slightly cocky. These are all great traits for a woman to see in you because it will make her start to chase you. She will feel like she now needs to prove to you that she is a good catch, that she is above average and a woman worth being with. Obviously, many men are attracted to beautiful and hot women, and most of these women know this, and so they will manipulate the men who are interested in them. One strategy that you can use is what's called stealing the frame. It's where instead of a woman manipulating a man who's interested in her, a man manipulates a woman who is interested in him. This is a strategy that will at first infuriate the woman who's having her frame stolen, but in the end, she'll actually thank you for it. Answering her questions with questions can be a good method to help her commit to something. Unless your reply is a no, it's usually not a good idea to give a woman a direct answer to something. Sending mixed signals can make you seem more mysterious and interesting. If a woman asks for something very specific, don't give her exactly what she asked for. When moving forward, take 2 steps, then step back once. Sometimes it's a good idea to tell her to just be friends. It's really similar to the game of poker. If she's bluffing, raise your stakes and call her bluff. A funny, cocky personality also works with women. Never act apologetic. It comes across as insecure. Don't act like you're trying to prove something or impress her. Don't just read and memorize these strategies and tips. Learn them and then figure out how you can apply them in your own life. These strategies can actually make you more attractive and confident if you actually incorporate them into your life. Here are some tips to help you out. Always keep a confident posture. Your body language is sending subtle signals to the people who are watching you. So if you walk around with your chest out and a straight back, you're sending messages of confidence to those around you. However, if your back is slouched and if you're always stuttering, these are things that portray incompetence and lack of confidence in yourself. So make sure that your body posture is always exuding confidence. Deal with your insecurities before you meet up with a woman. Say that you're insecure about your hair. You're probably going to become really uncomfortable when the woman starts to talk about your hair, which may or may not be a test of hers. What you want to do to prepare for this is to think up some things that you can say about your hair that either make it sound as though you don't care how other people see you, or that you're actually okay with how your hair looks. Both of these are perfectly acceptable and will make you seem more attractive to the woman that you're talking to. When you're taking a girl out on a date, don't be indecisive and ask her all kinds of questions about where she wants to go and when she wants to meet up. While it's nice to take these things into consideration, it makes you appear indecisive, and indecisiveness is unattractive. So instead of asking her a whole bunch of questions about what she wants to do, just make a decision. Tell her when and where you want to meet up, and it will make you appear more confident and comfortable in yourself. Don't let others treat you badly. Let's face it, women will judge you based on the way that other people or her friends judge you. So if you ever see anyone bad-mouthing you in front of her, stand up for yourself. That will not only give you a confidence boost, even if it may be a little bit scary, but it will make you appear 10 times more confident to her. Don't be afraid to be opinionated. It's okay to be picky about certain things that will benefit you. You don't want to be opinionated on everything, but if you're very opinionated on certain subjects, she'll respect you in those subjects for making your own opinion, standing your ground, and doing the research to make that opinion. These exercises, if performed correctly, can greatly increase your chances of success with women. These exercises will give you attributes and characteristics that women are very strongly attracted to. And the more the attraction between you grows, the more the sexual connection between you will grow as well. You may wonder why women are so attracted to bad boys. The truth is, there's something about a bad boy that helps to create a great sexual connection. Bad boys want to take you out on an adventurous spin that you will remember for the rest of your life. Bad boys are moody and dreamers and seductive. These are boys who are mysterious, but exactly what women want. Emotion and passion are the main characteristics in a bad boy that women are so strongly fond of. You can use these to create a very powerful sexual connection. It's not all about the words that you say, it's about the feelings that you have behind them. If you can say pretty words, that's great, but it's really the emotion behind the words that attracts women. You can utilize emotions and feelings in some seductive words to get a woman to have a really strong sexual connection with you. So, what are the chances that the traditional dating methods are going to work for you? Well, maybe if you're a good talker, then a traditional nice dinner and a meal will suffice. But for most guys, you're going to need to be a little bit adventurous and creative when it comes to choosing a place for you to date. Also, remember that communication is very important to your date. You want to make sure that you can not just talk to her, but really communicate. And remember that one of the best ways you can communicate is through body language. For example, if you're talking to her, make sure that you maintain eye contact. But it's okay to occasionally let your eyes wander down to her lips and then back up to her eyes. Something small like that is a great way to increase the sexual connection between the two of you. To create a sexual connection with a woman, you need to learn a whole new way of speaking and communicating. This is something that will create a great chemistry and sexual attraction between you and the woman that you're speaking to. This is something that needs to be applied from the moment that you first meet, however. Women can become uninterested in men very quickly, so it's important that you spark a sexual connection the moment that you meet her. Here are some tips to help you out. Step 1 is to start with good humor. Sassy, cheeky humor is definitely recommended for your opener. You want to make sure that you show her some interest, but you remain aloof at the same time. You don't want to deliver your lines as though this is boring or rehearsed. You want to show her that you're having fun talking to her. That, in turn, will make her enjoy talking to you too. Step 2 is after you have opened with her and after you've been talking for a short period of time, start to build some sexual tension. Now, it's important to note that you should never start with building sexual tension. If you come up to a girl and immediately start with the sexual tension, she's probably going to think that you're a creep. So definitely don't go up, grab her ass, and tell her that she's hot. That will not go over well. Make sure that you talk to her. Be confident, maybe a little cocky and playful. These are things that will start a good repertoire, but not overtly make you out like a creep. You can start building the sexual tension after you've been talking for a few minutes. Step 3 begins when you've successfully completed steps 1 and 2. You'll know this is the case by the girl flirting back with you. If so, it's time to amplify the sexual tension that you're already feeling. This can be done by taking 2 steps forward and then teasingly taking a step back. That will incredibly amplify all of the sexual tension that she is already feeling towards you. Step 4 is to start showing physical signs of your sexual attraction, assuming her attraction has been amplified. But remember, this does depend on your location. If you met in a club, physical contact is perfectly acceptable and may even be encouraged. However, if you just met in a library or in a coffee shop, physical contact may not be an acceptable route in that moment, so judge your situation accordingly. There are lots of tips and tricks in here, and all of it needs to be digested because it's taken a lot of personal experience, research, and time to compile all of this for you. However, it is definitely correct and highly effective, so if you utilize it properly, you should be able to up your game significantly and increase your sexual connection with all kinds of women. Flirting is similar to day-to-day playing. For example, think about when you were a child and you used to play games. For example, wrestling. Whenever your friend would jump on you and pretend to attack you, you wouldn't retaliate against them because you knew that it wasn't real. You were playing a game and they weren't actually going to hurt you. This instinct is in every human being, and we apply it all the time to figure out if someone is serious about getting to know us or if they're just playing the field, so to speak. We use this instinct in our relationships as well. We can utilize it to figure out if our partner is serious and committed to us or if they're cheating. The act of sexual connection starts in the way that you communicate with a woman. If you go up and start talking to her and you're not using a normal, honest tone, she'll pick up on that immediately and think that you're not seriously interested in her, even if you are. The tone of voice that you use to converse with a woman completely affects how she will view your interest in her. If you talk to her in a normal voice and speak honestly, telling her that she's pretty, asking if she's engaged, any of those things, that will let her know that you're genuinely interested in getting to know her. But if you go up and you start talking to her flirtatiously with a different intonation in your voice, she'll know that you're not serious and that you're only trying to talk to her to get in her pants or for whatever ulterior motive you may have. Flirting has never been easy, and some men make it even harder for themselves by confusing flirting with telling jokes. They're not the same thing, so if you're afraid of the one, you don't necessarily have to be afraid of the other. Many men will psych themselves out and think that they're going to say the wrong thing and they don't know how to do it, and they get themselves completely worked up and panicked. Relax. This is something that can be mastered and that you can be good at. Women are very in tune to flirting techniques, so you want to make sure that you're doing it subtly. However, if you don't implement flirting techniques, you're losing out on an opportunity to make a woman more sexually attracted to you. Here's a good tip for you. Start flirting from the beginning of the conversation. If you do this, a woman will, from the get-go, be attracted to you in a subtle way that she may not even be able to place. Using flirting as a tool from the beginning means that you don't have to be rich or good-looking or any particular quality because you can be charming. That is something that will always attract a woman. So, whenever you start talking to a woman, make sure that you're utilizing some sexual connection techniques to flirt with her right from the beginning. It may not work at your first try. Don't panic if that's the case. Some women just are in a bad mood when you happen to go talk to them. It's not the right time. Sometimes it is in the way that you deliver a line and you just need to practice more. No matter what, don't give up immediately. Flirting will work for everyone. You just have to be willing to give it more than one go. Of course, one cannot talk about flirting and fail to mention relationships and marriage, as this is where most of the flirting occurs. Here's an example of a conversation that a man can have with a woman just minutes after meeting her that can ignite sexual connection. If you've mastered flirting, this should be a fairly easy thing to do. If you're still having trouble starting up these conversations, you may need to learn flirting techniques to redirect the conversation. This can be a great way to open up communication. If you're struggling, you may want to check out my flirting program, Flirting Mastery, which will help you to master flirting. Once you've gotten the basics down, you need to go and talk to someone and practice these techniques. For example, a waitress at a restaurant. Judge her reaction. See what works and what doesn't. Redirecting conversation can be a great way to open up communication where it was previously closed, and you may open up some sexual communication with a woman who was previously unopen to the idea. Although many people don't talk about it, non-verbal flirting can be one of the most important techniques to flirting, sometimes even more important than verbal flirting. Non-verbal flirting usually incorporates a mixture of body language and facial expression. You always want to make sure that your body language is portraying an air of confidence and comfortableness with your surroundings. So stand up straight and act like you're very familiar with your surroundings, even if you're not. Your facial expression needs to always be maintained as friendly and open. You don't want to be changing your expression too much because it may seem like you're making a lot of jerky movements, which won't come across well to a woman. So make sure that you are calm and composed throughout your entire conversation. And however you use to start the conversation tactically, make sure that you change it up throughout the conversation. Don't use the same tactic from beginning to end or a woman may get bored with you. Try using some of her own tactics. For example, if she raises an eyebrow at you, raise an eyebrow back at her. Those are obviously physical gestures that she understands and you can use to communicate with her. Although most men can display wit and humor when they meet a woman for the first time, not all men can create sexual tension and chemistry. Those are the men who understand that they may not ever get another chance to talk to this woman, so they want her to fall for them right now. Some of the ways they do this are flirtily toying with the woman and saying mean things, but in a fun and flirty way. So, for example, saying that you disapprove of her behavior or her job performance, or saying that you're finished with this relationship because it just isn't working out. These are all the kinds of things that can be extreme flirting, but can definitely work. Most men usually engage in extreme cocky or funny flirting. Both of these tactics can work with women. Most men don't realize that women actually prefer this kind of flirting to any other. Shy men, however, have a really hard time picturing themselves doing this kind of flirting because it takes a certain amount of confidence to be blowing kisses at women and confident that you can make a woman laugh throughout an entire conversation. This is totally normal, but you do want to try to build your confidence so that you can utilize funny or arrogant flirting tactics. The best bet is to combine both of them. If you go strictly arrogance, a woman may think that you're actually arrogant and not realize that you're trying to flirt with her. If you're just funny, she may not take you seriously. So combining the two is your best bet to get a woman to be attracted to you. Compare these two statements. Her dress makes her look fat, and if she doesn't find a dress that fits her better, the fashion police are going to go after her. Which one do you think is going to go across better to a woman? The answer is the second statement. The first one, while it does make you seem cocky and arrogant, which can be attractive to women, can be very insulting and offensive. So the best way to do it is to incorporate humor. Arrogance and humor equals a master plan that can never fail with women because there's something very attractive about a confident, humorous guy. Women are always drawn to this, so instead of utilizing just arrogance or just humor to flirt, make sure that you combine the two. Women also appreciate honesty. It may not always be what they want to hear, but it will gain you some trust, which is always a positive in a woman's book. When you're utilizing your flirting techniques, try it out when you're shopping. This may seem a little strange, but if your cashier is a woman, for example, you could say something funny like, "So how much do you steal from the till every day?" Then she'll usually grin and laugh a little bit and flirt with you a little bit. Women tend to open up to that kind of humor, so make sure that you're utilizing it in your day-to-day life so that you can get really good at it, so that when you meet a woman who you actually are interested in, you'll be a pro. One of the secrets of being cocky and humorous is to never back down. Remember, your goal is not to upset a woman, but in order to really make it work for you, you need to continue no matter what her reaction is. You don't want to upset her, but that may be her initial reaction until she warms up to you and realizes that you're actually just flirting. So no matter what reaction she gives, get creative with your tactics and stick to your guns. For example, some things that you might do are to open up a conversation with her, start a sentence, but not finish it. Just kind of stare at her in a sexual manner. Another option might be to tease her in some way based on something that she has. For example, something like, "Do you really need a purse that big? Are you sure you don't have a loaded gun in there?" That's an example of something that you might say that will create some great sexual tension. Turn down her compliments. You can say things like, "I'm not like other guys, your compliments aren't going to work on me." Or, "Starting with the compliments already, huh? Why don't you just get this over with and buy me a drink?" As long as you say it in a cocky and funny manner, it's going to go over okay. You should also try to mimic things that she does in a cocky or funny way. For example, if she sits with a very rigid posture, do that, but exaggerate it a little bit so that she sees that's how she sits and how she's perceived by others, and it can subtly tell her that she should work on her posture. Now, this can go over very well or very poorly, but as long as you're doing it in a funny way, it's bound to get a good reaction and make her comfortable and relaxed with you. Hurl objects at a woman, but make sure it's something small, nothing big enough to hurt her. You don't want it to be sharp or large objects. Something like a small menu is fine. You want it to be something that's small enough to relax her and put her into a playful mood, nothing that can harm her in any way. Also, when you're talking to a woman, make sure that you're using some sarcastic comments, but also redirect her a little bit. Use suspense as your ally. When you're talking to her, if she asks you a question, instead of answering the question, redirect the conversation to something completely different, preferably something sexual, in a very subtle way. You could mention whatever would take her in that direction, whether it's your mom, your shower, your bedroom, whatever the case may be. Utilize anything at your disposal to redirect her and not really give her the answer that she wants. Also, make sure that you're using takeaways. You can say things like, "Had you been nice, I would have shown you something nice," but you weren't, so you don't get to see. It's something that will create more suspense and keep her wondering what exactly you have up your sleeve. Once you have won over the woman that you're meeting for your first date, you need to be very, very careful of sexual misinterpretation. This is something a lot of guys actually end up doing because they think that they can read the woman's mind way before they actually can, and they end up blowing everything that they just created on this wonderful first date. So, the best way to avoid sexual misinterpretation is to simply play it safe. If she makes any kind of comment that you think may be her asking you for sex, or comments about moving in, anything that seems a little too serious at the moment, make a joke about it and change the subject. You can do this in a number of ways by teasing her and busting her chops. If, for example, she says she needs to go to bed because it's getting late, you can make a joke and say, "Wow, I haven't known you that long, I can't sleep with you yet." Do something lighthearted and fun so that she doesn't get offended that you're rejecting her offer, if it was an offer, but something that at the same time will get the message to her that you are not interested in having sex with her at this moment. If a woman is trying to get you to have sex with her and it's a genuine offer, then she'll ask again at another time. If she wasn't ready, if that wasn't meant to be anything sexual, then you'll have avoided making her feel really uncomfortable and possibly making her completely dislike you. Always ensure that the conversation is running smoothly and that you're in control when you're talking to a woman. You can make jokes and try to make her feel as comfortable as possible, but you always want to be in control. Pick several relevant topics that you can maintain a conversation with. Ask her questions about ordinary day-to-day activities. See what she says, make jokes at her answers. Do things that will make her laugh. This is a great way to get a woman relaxed, and while she will be enjoying herself, you will still be in control. You can also play some games, whether star games or guessing games, and either one will make her interested and enjoy herself. Whatever she seems to gravitate towards, do more of that because it's important for her to enjoy herself. Also, try not to be too lewd with this kind of thing. The best way to pass a woman's test is by getting her to laugh and telling her that she's cute. You want to maintain control the entire time. Never show her that you're nervous or that you're uncomfortable with the situation in any way. She'll see you as weak. So maintain control, or at least an aura of confidence so that she thinks you're in control. Also, if anything that you say or do seems to upset her, don't act like it's your problem. If you make it seem like she's the one with the problem, then it doesn't mean that the pressure is on you to fix it. So if you see that she's having an issue, let her deal with it. Be careful how you start a conversation with a woman. You don't want to start out as timid, but you also don't want to start out as arrogant when you're first initiating conversation. Just keep it fun and relaxed. Stay in the middle as far as your timidness or arrogance. You don't want to be on either extreme, but if you're making it relaxed and she's having a good time, that's all that you need to do. Whatever you do, don't start thinking about your limitations, and don't pick up her limitations and make them your own. Just find whatever technique works best for you and work it, whether that's being cocky and humorous or whatever the case may be. Find whatever works for you and just use it. Utilize the best parts of yourself. Don't worry about what you're not good at, because that's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Focus on the good. Here's a question for you. Do you think it's possible for a woman to become attracted to a man that she's had a confrontation with? The answer, of course, is yes. If you've seen any romantic comedy, that's usually how it starts. When a man and a woman have a romantic connection from a confrontation, it's very, very easy to go from one to another. For whatever reason, the confrontation stirs very romantic feelings. It makes a flirtatious conversation very easy to initiate, and from there, it can go anywhere you want it. So the next time you're struggling to get a woman to like you, maybe a confrontation is the way to go. as human beings, we are built to be social creatures. We crave interactions with one another. Now, the problem with this is that not all interactions are positive ones. Chances are most of the people that you talk to are charming and friendly and you have a good time with them. But sometimes things don't go the way that you want. This is normal and it happens to all of us. For example, you may go up and talk to a beautiful woman and she may shoot you down. That happens to all of us sometimes. So if it happens to you, all that you can do is not take it personally. As children, we were really good at this. If someone didn't want to play with us, we didn't take it personally. That's where rhymes like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's where that kind of thing comes from. It's because we just bounced right back as children. Words didn't hurt us. We told us a self-affirming story so that it didn't keep us down. As adults, we need to do that more. If you get shot down, don't take it personally. It may be nothing about your appearance or personality. It may be entirely about her. You don't know. So no matter what happens, keep your spirits up. We are all going to have negative experiences, but you can't let that keep you down. The best way to get through these confrontations and rejections is to do as the movie stars do. Be cocky, witty, and charming about it, and then move right on. Some of the best examples of this are James Bond and Indiana Jones. These heroes have a personality that just exudes sexual tension, and they're cocky and witty, and we love them for it. Do these characters get shot down? Yes, quite regularly, in fact. But the fact that they always have something witty to say and that they can bounce right back is what makes them so lovable. You can master this skill. All you have to do is practice. In order to master this technique, all you have to do is practice. Practice on every single woman that you meet. Not kidding. Whether that woman is 1,000 years old or way too young for you. Whether she is drop dead gorgeous or way below your beauty spectrum. Whether she's an authority figure or someone who's just plain not your type. Doesn't matter. Practice on every single woman that you meet. If you do that, you can make it second nature to you and it will come across naturally, and it's something that won't be so difficult for you even if it seems impossible at the moment. Make it a point to flirt with 10 to 12 different women every single day. That pretty much means that you're going to flirt with a different woman every hour. Every woman is different. They have different backgrounds and different life situations, and they'll present different challenges for you. If you actually flirt with 10 to 12 women every day, you will be presented with so many different scenarios to overcome that you will garner more experience than you ever thought possible in such a short amount of time. Practice on these women. Get good at flirting. Just by trying 10 to 12 women a day, you will be so much better at the end of the 2 weeks than you ever thought possible. The next thing that you need to learn is how to give sexually charged answers. You want to be able to use these on every woman that you meet. Even if you don't want to sleep with that particular woman, give her these answers. See if you can create a sexual connection with her, just for your benefit. Find out some of the typical questions that are getting to know you questions. For example, where are you from? Did you like growing up there? Do you have a family? Find answers to these that are sexually charged so that you can create a great sexual connection with any woman that you meet. If you can find some sexual tension in your answers to these questions, you'll be able to do that. It just takes practice and some forethought. If you practice these, you'll be better prepared as well for if she throws you a curveball question, anything that you weren't expecting. Then you'll be able to improvise a more sexually charged answer than you would normally have just the generic answers. It makes you a much more interesting person to talk to. As far as flirting and sexual attraction go, there are several steps that you need to make sure that you follow in order to really reach that point. The first is your opening lines. You want them to be custom, not some cheesy pickup line you found on the internet. Something that shows a little bit of arrogance and that works for you. Also, make sure that when you're conversing with her, your retorts are cocky and witty as well. You want to increase that sexual attraction as much as possible. Don't be fully available. If you get a phone call, feel free to take it. Talk to another girl. Do things that show her that you're a viable option for her, that people are interested in you. These are all great things that you can do to help increase the sexual attraction, but body language is one of the most important ones that there are. You want to make sure that if you get the chance to kiss her or caress her body, you take advantage of those opportunities. Body language is essential and will really create the sexual attraction where words may fail you. As far as communication is concerned, women are light years ahead of men. Women can tell how good a man will be at sexual intercourse, if there's any, just by the way that they carry themselves. In fact, most of the communication that is perceived by everyone is from body language, and men don't tend to realize this, but only 7% of what you actually say carries meaning when you're having a conversation with someone. 93% of communication is made through body language, and most men are behind on this fact. Women are masters at reading body language, and so they understand much more about a man than he tends to intend for her to let on. So the next time you're having a conversation with a woman and you're trying to make a sexual connection, be mindful of what your body is telling her as well as your words. Always hold your head high. Have good posture, and it turns out your grandmother was right. Don't slouch. You want to make sure that you are maintaining the most confident air of yourself that you can. So that means walking with what most people would say is a king's gait. Walk slowly and deliberately, as if you own the room. And in fact, you should. So make sure that you are confident in yourself, or you're at least exuding that atmosphere. Also remember that your eyes say a lot about you. Don't look away from a girl until she looks away first. If you do look away or blink, do it slowly and deliberately, just like with your walk. That shows dominance, masculinity, and that you're in control. A woman wants a dominant man, or at least a strong one, so you want to make sure that your eyes, which are the windows to the soul after all, say that about you. Your vocal pitch speaks volumes. If you don't naturally have a deep voice, practice as if you do. Start trying to speak from your chest, because that will help to lower your voice a few notches, and you have no idea how attractive that can be on a woman. A man who speaks slowly and deliberately, especially if what he's saying has sexual innuendo, makes him that much more attractive. It again exudes an air of confidence and masculinity that you want to be associated with you in her mind. Exude hopeless romanticism. Now, that's not to say that you should jump at her every beck and call, but you do want to naturally and effortlessly exude gentlemanly behavior, or what would be typically classified as that. That means holding open the door for her, pulling out her chair for her, ordering the wine for her. Do these with a romantic aspect, but also with strength. Now, you do want to make sure that she has enough breathing room, so don't try to take so much control that you leave every decision out of her hands. A woman won't appreciate that. But if you do take control and do it in a gentlemanly fashion, maybe with some sexual tension involved, speak in a low voice, these are all things that will have her hanging on your every word. When it comes to the physical aspect of the relationship, a man is always expected to lead the way. This also means that the man always takes on the risk of rejection. A woman is never expected to do that, so when she does, it's on her own terms that she takes the risk. But a man has to take the risk. It's expected of him. He is expected, whenever he lustfully wants to kiss her or do more, to take that chance, and it's a woman's responsibility to stop him or completely reject his advances if that's what she wants. So even though it's not the most comfortable situation and you may get rejected quite frequently, it is a man's responsibility to take that plunge. All of this could be avoided, however, if men just knew how to go about it. The problem that most men have is they ask for sex, or if not ask for it, then have an aura about them like they assume they're going to get it. That is just as off-putting to women as a man who asks for it. What you want to do is actually make it seem like this is something she should be excited about. She's going to get extreme pleasure from this, and there's no reason for her not to want to give it to you. See, women, or the average woman at least, feels like sex is a gift that they're giving to you. It's not something that they give to everyone, and it's a sacred act. So if you walk around assuming like you're going to get something from her, or arrogantly assume that you're going to give her the best time of her life, that's not the right mindset to get a woman to actually have sex with you. You need to make her excited about it. The best way to make a woman excited about sex is to get her to anticipate it. She needs to have already thought about everything involving a sexual encounter with you. And that's not just to say that she's considered the lewd acts. She needs to have already had sex with you in her mind and enjoyed the experience. That means she needs to think of the preamble, of the foreplay, of the actual sexual act itself, of you kissing her all over her body. These are all things that need to have gone through her head prior to her actually having sex with you. It's totally different from men. Men just need to see a naked female body and they can objectify it and be ready to go. But with women, this is not the case at all. Men are much easier to turn on. There are some light switches that are more difficult to turn on than some men. For women, the arousal process takes a great deal of leading up. It's a lot like putting building blocks together and kind of hoping that the end result is good. It's a very different process from men. For women, you can arouse her by the way that you speak to her, the way and places that you touch her, how firmly you grip her. These are all things that need to be done with deliberation, on purpose. You want to show her that you are sexually aroused and you have some sexual tension that she could stand to benefit from. A great way to do this is to go in and then pull back. So for example, you could kiss her and kiss her passionately, like there's something else there that you could do, but then pull yourself back. Hold back. Don't give her everything. That's a great way to get her intrigued and then curious for more. On your dates, or even when she comes over to your house, all of your physical activity and interactions need to be highly suggestive. This will create a ton of anticipation for her. Start something, but then don't go through with it. That will get her thinking, what would it have been like if he had taken it all the way? That's exactly the kind of mentality that you want. So this is going to require a lot of self-control on your part. For most men, as soon as they get a kiss, they want to grab her, hold her firmly, breathe heavily, take it all the way. But that's not what will turn a woman on. In fact, those particular characteristics are turn-offs for most women. So you want to maintain the approach of starting something and then backing up. Hold yourself accountable as best you can. Make sure that you're utilizing every ounce of self-control that you possess, because the end result will be that she'll not only enjoy the sex more, but be more likely to come back for more. This tactic can actually be used as soon as you meet her. This is where the cocky comments can come into play. You want to show her that you know exactly what she's feeling and experiencing, and what she wants to feel and experience, but you want to make sure that you take it at her pace. This is the mistake that most men make, is they try to force something that she may or may not be ready for. Trying to kiss her or grope her too soon are both mistakes that will close her down. You want to make sure that you take it at a slow and relaxed pace. This not only gives her time to get comfortable with the idea, but shows her that you're in control and you don't feel like you need to rush her, because you could turn her on anytime you want. This is the same kind of thing that salespeople utilize. They know that it's all about the presentation. It's all about how you show the customer that the product that they're looking at is exactly what they need, and show them what additional benefits the product has that can solve their problems. Show them how this product is perfect for them. Treat yourself as both salesperson and product. You want to show her that you know exactly what she needs, you know exactly what she wants, and that you can give it to her if only she'll buy in. Once these steps are fulfilled, then she'll feel comfortable enough to let you proceed. In fact, when she's ready for it, she'll start showing you that you've got the green light. She'll start kissing you more passionately, touching you provocatively, whispering in your ear, grinding up on you, depending on the situation. There are tons of signs that a woman can give to show you that she's ready. If she's not, you'll be hitting nothing but red lights. She won't be kissing you passionately. You'll be able to feel it in her touch that she's not ready to go with you as far as you want to go. Once you have her ready, moving forward in a confident way is essential to making sure that she knows that you know exactly what you're doing and you're interested in making her feel good. The baiting technique of starting and then pulling back is a great way to not only get her wanting more, but to show her that you are in complete control of the situation. Again, it lets her know that you're not in it just for yourself, that you have her pleasure in mind as well. You can even withdraw completely and let her know that you could go anytime you wanted, but you're not going to. Not right at this moment anyway. That's a great way to let her know that you are in control. You want to show her that you have everything under control, that you can do whatever it is that you want, but you're going to do what's going to make her happiest and most excited. Get her to beg for your touch. This is the kind of experience that a woman genuinely wants. Starting off with a light touch or a kiss is the way to go. It really turns a woman on. But you may need to dig out the brute in you as things go on. You want to kiss her passionately and make aggressive choices when you're in the throes of passion. So make sure that while you may start off gently, you don't necessarily want to end there. Here's a long example that will help to make you really see the picture that we're painting. Start off with something simple like a massage. Women love massages. Start by just massaging her feet with whatever it is that you're doing. Use massage oil if you have it. Then move to her hands. Slowly go up her arms, then ask for her hands again, but don't use any words. This should all be done via gestures. Go back to her hands, then go up again and start massaging her shoulders. Then pull back, relax for a little bit, spoon with her, and just keep the conversation going in your deep and sexy voice. From here, take it up a notch. Smell her exposed neck. Don't be creepy about it, but just some light touching and light smelling will do. Then tell her that she smells good. Then keep it up. Keep smelling her neck occasionally as you continue the conversation. Then tell her that you would like to kiss her neck or bite her neck, but when you say this, don't do it immediately. Give her a few minutes so that she can then envision you doing that. That will make it seem like she has created this dream in her mind and experienced it and enjoyed it already. When you actually do it, that will be like you're fulfilling one of her dreams because you've given her time to experience it in her mind. Touch her, not in any naughty places. This is like stuff you were doing when you were a teenager. All clothes still on. But push your boundaries a little bit as you're touching her and enjoying each other. Start kissing her. Then take a break. Go light some candles, get a drink, then come back quickly. Make sure that you're not gone for long. You just want to give her a little bit of time so that she wants you. When you come back, pick up exactly where you left off. Keep it going. You want to keep creating that sexual tension. Then start running your hands up and down her body and getting to a little bit of naughtier places. Move your hand close to her crotch and see what her reaction is. Gauge her carefully. If she's ready, you'll know. You may see her shiver or feel it. You may see her smile or feel it in her kiss. Gauge her reaction, and if you get a positive one, then feel free to go a little closer and pull back again. After you've ascertained that she's comfortable being touched in between the legs, remove your hand from there entirely. Move yourself up to her breasts. Start caressing her breasts, gently touching her nipples. Make sure that she is aroused. Hard nipples will tell you when she's at that point. Once you've done that, continue to make out with her, but move your hands back down to the X-rated area. Start rubbing gently with her pants still on. Then move your hand away, give her some time to really enjoy it and want you back, and do it again. Repeat the process. Then once you've done that a few times, unbutton her pants and stick your hands inside her panties. But make sure that you only unbutton her pants. Don't actually pull them all the way down yet. Then rub gently, take it out, and repeat the process again. This will increase her arousal exponentially. Once you've done that and you're still getting the okay, feel free to take it as far as you want to go. This is a great way to arouse a woman, and by the time you actually get to the sex part, she will feel so taken care of that she'll more than likely be willing to focus on you at this point and making sure that you get what you need because you've taken such good care of her. Also remember to practice safe sex, as it's a very, very important aspect of sexual intercourse. You don't want any unexpected problems after your sexual encounter if you had such a good time while doing it. When you're done, don't just roll over and start snoring. This is a process. A woman needs to be warmed down just like she needs to be warmed up. Take a bath with her or feed her some chocolate. Do something romantic. This is a great way for a lasting gratification and experience to stick out in a woman's mind. Not only will she have enjoyed the sex, but most men probably won't have gone that extra mile to really see to it that she's warmed down. And you will stand out as the best sexual partner that she's had, at least in a long time. Remember to maintain spontaneity and charm. Women need to always feel wanted, and you staying on top of your toes and maintaining the sexual connection that you created when you first met is how you're going to keep her faithful and enjoying her experiences with you.